This is Greg of Greg in Good Company, and you are listening to Deeper Than Music Radio.
Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. Deeper than music. Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. Deeper than music. Deeper than music.
What up, what up, what up? This is your man Furious, Deeper Than Music Radio. Behind every great song, there's an even greater story. I like to say what's up to everybody in podcast land and internet land on this cold day here in the DFW area. Today we have a very special group, or we got one member of a very special group. I believe that the greatest songs are songs that speak to our times and speak to the ills of the world and actually speak to say what people are feeling, but what they don't say. One of the songs that stood out to me that Greg and Good Company sent to me was a song called The American Way. And one of the lines that grabbed me was, "A man takes the knee to be exposed to bigotry," and that talks to Kaepernick. And it just talks about how right now it seems to be the American way is to complain via social media and not really do anything. Greg and Good Company is a group based out of California, and their sound is rock, pop, folk, and funk. They have an EP and an album out, and their songs have been played on Laguna Beach's 93.5 and even into country on WXRY 99.3. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Greg of the group Greg and Good Company here on Deeper Than Music Radio. Greg, how you doing?
Really good, man. Thank you so much for having me, Furious, and just thank you so much for taking a listen to music and for supporting independent musicians like us. Because making the music for me is the easy part. It's getting it out there without, a big giant corporation pushing it. So I really appreciate people like you who give a chance to nobodies like me and then expose your listeners to it. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man, I'm a firm believer in the universal language of music, and I just love I love music that isn't cookie cutter and that is from the heart. And your music is from the heart, and to take a stance on what's going on, I just feel like mainstream is, hey, let's dance, let's talk about what we have that they don't have, And actually, man, I was actually at work today, and I was in the cafeteria getting lunch, and Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" came on, and I'm just like, wow, this was made in the 60s and 70s. I think the 70s, but it's very relevant right now, what's going on. So I want to talk about, of course, Deeper Than Music is talking about the story behind the music and the story about the band, but the song is so fresh in my mind, and I want it to be the first song I play. I want to know what the story is behind The American Way, the song. Like, what motivated you to write this song?
As soon as I wrote it, I knew it is the title track. Our debut album that came out this past summer is called American Way. And as soon as I wrote that song, I wrote it 2 years ago before Trump was elected, in my bedroom in a tiny apartment. And as soon as I wrote it, I knew, this was going to be relevant. Even though the album wasn't going to be done for another, year and a half or 2 years or whatever. And I just knew that kind of attitude was going to kind of drive me to keep writing, and because it just felt like it wasn't going to go anywhere. And when I wrote the song, it's really just me kind of venting about all the stuff I see going on in the world. I work in media, so I live on the internet basically, and I'm just exposed to every bad news story that comes by, and I try to stay up on politics, try to stay informed. And, it was really for me just kind of therapeutic venting of just things I'm seeing and frustration of that nothing's changing. And I think the frustration of seeing the kind of circle that we run in, where it's like, bitch, bitch, moan, moan, forget about it. And then something happens, like another shooting happens, and then it's like, oh, gun control, gun control. We're gonna forget about that. We're gonna get tired of talking about that. Oh, it happened again. Let's keep talking about it. And it just seems like the news cycle is so fast and furious that we're just going nowhere fast. We're going nowhere fast while the problems are getting worse. And this administration, Trump's administration, and the chaos of just every day there's something different. So it's really impossible. Well, not impossible, but it's hard for people to really focus on the issues and tackle them. And so, yeah, the song, I mean, it's about seeing black kids get shot in the street, and just over and over again, and then seeing the victim blaming. Well, hey, if that kid wouldn't have stolen that candy bar.
Oh,
hey,
my goodness, man. You know what's funny? And and I hate to.
And then to see, also too, the blatant fact that both parties are corrupt. There is irrefutable evidence that Republicans and Democrats, while right now I'm going to favor Democrats, but at the end of the day, there's still a systematic corruption in Washington, D.C. We need a third party. We're absolutely terrified of voting for a third party, because then the party you absolutely don't want to win might win. I think the whole reaction to Colin Kaepernick, you referenced the line, I see a man take a knee to take a stand against bigotry, is ridiculous. I mean, the people's what they're really reacting to is he's forcing them to confront their own demons, their own issues. What's wrong with them? The fact that they are racist, even if they don't know it, right?
Yes.
And what truly bothers people, they come with all these excuses. Oh, it's football. It shouldn't be this or that. And, but it's really, this man is forcing you to look in a mirror, and you want to close your eyes. You don't want to look in the mirror.
Yeah. And then they make it about the flag. And I'm glad because I'm a vet. I come from a military family, and I'm glad that my fellow veterans, for the most part, were like, hey, this is BS. Because and I tell my friends, or not friends, but I call these people my associates that want to say something. I never seen you at a VA hospital. I've never seen you at a VFW. I've never seen you help a veteran. Okay, let's put your money where your mouth is. Put that money into the VA. And then also, you bring up such a good point. And I wonder, when Martin Luther King was alive, they demonized the hell out of him. And now, Martin Luther King is the greatest. But he took a knee as well. And I wonder if the same, because, the civil rights movement. But I wonder the same people that had the mentality of bullying the freedom riders or the people that did the sit-ins, was this the same exact, of course the magnitude was even worse, but was it the same exact mentality? You know what I mean? Because who's to say? And I mean, more than likely Kaepernick will be written as a hero years from now, but now it's like, they demonize him. And I'm glad you said that, because the thing that blows my mind is people, like, especially we talked about Facebook, it exposes to me that people that I now call associates, like, wow, because there's people that, like, talk bad about Barack Obama. And this is what blows my mind. The Barack Hussein Obama, but Barack is biracial. You know what I'm saying? And I always wonder, like, I wonder what his mom thinks. How they're just, how they treat him. And even with Kaepernick. And like you said, I'm glad you said that it forces people who don't want to deal with their bigotry and their inner racism. That is a good point.
And not only just they don't want to deal with it within themselves, but they don't want to deal with it the people around them. Ignorance truly is bliss, and it's really easy to bury your head in the sand and to just focus on your life and to focus on, whatever bubble you live in your town.
Yeah.
Your a group of friends, and to tune out everything else that's going on. And what's nice, you know, as much as the noise can also just the general uproar, it's getting harder and harder to tune that out.
Yeah, no, it's here. It's bubbling over.
And I think you said this in our when we were talking before we got on the air, but you know, seeing now that people are speaking out in bad ways, right? And they're revealing who they truly are. So it's nice to see that it's no longer just a screen name on a YouTube comment. There's a picture in her Facebook profile and her life is attached to that. And it's at least good to get it out in the open of how people really feel instead of, you know, people, the kind of undercover bigots. It's actually better, in my opinion, that people wear it on their sleeves. Seeing the Nazis and white supremacists take, you know, march through the streets with, you know, without the hoods is terrifying in one way, but it's also like, well, you know what? We're getting one step closer to whatever is bubbling, whatever needs to happen by having people be out in the open for it. You know, I don't want to sound like a revolutionary here. I fear that nothing good it's not going to be easy to get the change that I sing about in the song, that we need, the systematic change we need. It ain't going to be easy. And that's why the chorus is, you know, but we're too afraid. We are absolutely petrified of the reality of what we need to sacrifice in order to create this systematic change. And at some point, we're going to have to stop tweeting about it and start doing something physical about it, whatever that means, whether that's just marching more or what have you. You know, I don't want to say anything too risque here, but
and the thing is, like, we talked about, like, the crazy thing is, like, with the school shootings, and I'm like when Columbine happened, it was like, wow, but now it's getting so frequent, and I'm like, when will we do something when it happens to somebody important's front door? You know what I mean? Now it's like, and it's funny to me because, like, I work for a major airline. I travel around the world, and I have a coworker that's from England, and he's like, you know, we were kind of just talking. He's like, you know what's funny? He's like, they want to point at us about terrorism and this and that, and he's like, it's right at your guys' front door, damn near every day, with these lone wolf domestic terrorists. And he's like, and they point at us, you know, Europe and all these other foreign countries.
It's insane that we scapegoat. You know, it's so much easier for a lot of Americans to scapegoat people that don't look like them.
Yep.
And that's exactly why they do it. It's much harder for white Americans to admit, oh, actually, you know, white people aren't perfect. We're actually horrible human beings, just as horrible as people we're afraid of. And there's plenty of shitty people of every color out there. So, yeah, this whole, I mean, like I said, I work in the media, and it's pretty terrifying to see a president calling the press, the free press, the enemy of the people.
Yeah.
And his most deranged followers starting to pick up on that, or showing up at a pizza parlor in Washington, D.C. with an assault rifle because they read a conspiracy theory that Fox News perpetuated. So there's a lot happening, and I think there's a lot that could, you know, it's giving me anxiety, but there's also, I think, still a lot of hope. I still feel like the hope that it's over from the Barack Obama years.
And I say, that's, and I didn't mean to interrupt, that's what your song that I'm about to cue up gave me hope, because it's like, I'm not gonna lie, what's going on in the world gives me anxiety. I'm like, after I watch the news, I need to listen to something happy, something inspirational, you know, like, yeah.
And you know, that's why with the album, I wrote, this was, I think, the first song of the album that I wrote, and I knew it was going to kind of, that theme was going to run through it, a kind of social commentary on America. But I realized I had a lot of other material that's similar to this, where it's kind of harping on the problems and the kind of idiocies that of the way people think. But, I realized I got to give people hope, which is why the album ends with a song that you're going to play later, I think, called Love. And I think the only way that we can truly solve what we're going through is ultimately love. So that I needed to give some of that to listeners as well.
Yep. And here we go. Deeper Than Music Radio, Greg and Good Company. Special guest Greg of Greg and Good Company, American Way, here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
It's time for change, the words are afraid, so we all complain the American way. Then face the blame, and those getting made, while we all pray, it will all be okay. It's the American way. I see a man take a knee, then take a stand against bigotry. I hear the ignorant scream. Your problem ain't a problem, cause your problem ain't affecting me. I see the blood in the news, shots fired from hundreds of fools in the streets and even schools, but solutions are far for the weak who love the murder tools. Stop! Oh, it's time for change, the words are afraid, so we all complain the American way, then place the blame. I know it's getting made, while we all pray, it will all be okay. It's the American way. It's time for change, the ones who are afraid, so we all complain the American way, then face the blame, I know it's getting made, while we all pray, that it's time for change, the ones who are afraid, so we all complain the American way, then face the blame, I know it's getting made, while we all pray, it will all be okay. It's the American way.
This is Marquivas Furious Nias, and you're listening to Deeper Than Music Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg and Good Company, American Way, and we have Greg of Greg and Good Company. So now that we got the heavy stuff out of the way, we have already heard the sound, but how would you describe the music?
Right, it's still fun.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm singing about some horrible stuff, but it's still fun. You can still shake your booty to it.
Yep. So how did Greg and Good Company form? Like, what was the genesis and the formation of the group?
So it was just a lot of baby steps. I actually never intended to start a band. I've been playing guitar and writing songs since I was like in 6th grade. That's really how I taught myself to play guitar, by writing songs. But I never really had an expectation. I mean, of course, everyone dreams of being a rock star, right?
Yep.
Not that I am yet by any means, but I never had any ambitions for that. And I actually came out to LA when I was 23, to pursue screenwriting. I can tell you I've written the worst Hallmark movie of all time, You're Welcome, America. And I was doing comedy songs. I was doing stand-up comedy around town. It was fun. And I wasn't getting as much satisfaction out of it, but something happened where one of my really good friends from high school, I found out he died from a heroin overdose. And, I wasn't really sure how to process that grief and, what to do. And, eventually 3 months later, I picked up my acoustic guitar and I wrote a song called Dedication Song, which we will be recording in the future. And I just needed to play it live. Therapeutic. I was like, I need to get out and play this live. So I went to an open mic, and it was the first open mic I went to in Burbank, California. And after I got done playing it, the audience just was really affected by it. The host was like, wow, man, that was beautiful. A guy who had the voice of an angel before me came up to me and was just like, dude, I love that song. And then, aspiring producer came up to me and said, hey, man, I want to record that. Can you please, come to my house? Let's record that song. And so that was really the catalyst for my kind of journey in this direction of music. And I started just doing more mics, playing more gigs, and I kind of picked up the band kind of one by one, where someone had offered me a monthly gig, and I figured, okay, I'll get a percussionist to expand the sound. So met him, Perry Ostrin, on Craigslist, and we vibed, and then his friends would come see us play, and then they said, hey, can I play with you? And I was like, sure, why not? My guitarist, Marty Vites, he came to a show and he liked what he heard, and he said, hey, I'll come to more shows. I dig you guys. And I said, hey, I know you're a guitarist. Why don't you just play with us? And he was like, all right. And I met Lee, who is our co-vocalist and piano player, and tambourine when they're not playing keyboard. And I saw them perform an open mic. I said, you're incredible. Got their contact info, and I just said, hey, I got a gig. Do you want to come and sing backup vocals? And they were like, I say they, by the way, in case you're why I'm saying they're gender fluid, so they prefer they. Okay. And I said, yeah, just come sing. What do you want me to do? I don't know. You'll figure it out. And sure enough, they did. They killed it. They harmonized. It's just like effortless for them. And then we picked up Alexa as our current drummer after Perry left the band to focus on some other stuff. And so it was just kind of real natural progression with no real particular ambition building it up. But then once I had a band and we were playing, I knew I had something special. The songs were resonating with people, and we were just getting better and better. So probably about like a year into it, I was like, okay, this is like, I got to really focus on this. And that's when probably about 2 or 3 years ago is when I really started taking it seriously.
Okay. Yeah. And, no, it's definitely a good sound. You guys, mesh well. The music is well. And then actually on your website, one of the music videos that actually grabbed me, I like the song, and I have it queued up, 2 a.m. Can you give us the rundown on 2 a.m. and the story behind the music? Yeah.
2 a.m. That's one of the songs I wrote in my bathroom, because I had great acoustics in my West Hollywood apartment. Probably wrote that song 4 years ago now. At this point, that is a song that is really. I've always been bad at names. I'm not good at names. I'm a face guy. Like when I see your face, I'll probably never forget it, but I have to meet you several times in order to really remember your name, or now I try to make more of an effort to really remember people's names. But I kind of just thinking back to my single days. I mean, I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for 8 years now, so it's been a while. But like, I would go out, and you start talking, chatting up a girl, and you're getting shit faced, and then about they would do this thing to go, wait a minute, what's my name? And I would be like, oh, Michelle, and
been there, done that. I know what you're talking about.
that's the test, right? But it's kind of really thinking about that and being like, well, that's kind of a stupid test because, we're all getting shit faced, and you're at a bar. I mean, it's just kind of like the worst place to really meet someone for a meaningful connection.
Yeah,
and I just don't think the name is really important. To be honest with you, when you're meeting someone, I probably don't pick up the people's name. Half the people I meet, and they might end up becoming one of my best friends. But initially, the name isn't really all that important to me. It's the conversation, it's the connection, So that song, it's definitely tongue in cheek and supposed to be fun. And so, yeah, just kind of like an exploration of the kind of hypocrisy of trying to find love in the worst place. And I mean, if you listen to that song, just listen to the lyrics. It's pretty straightforward. I like to be as straightforward and complete as I can with my thoughts and my lyrics, as opposed to artists who are really spacey and, like Kurt Cobain, who would pull from different ideas and just, hey, interpret it however you want. I have probably because I'm a writer of articles and screenwriting, that I want people to understand exactly what I'm trying to communicate. That's pretty much everything I write. If you listen to the lyrics, it's pretty hard not to pick up exactly what I'm trying to say.
Got you. All right, so you heard the story behind the music. Here we go, 2 a.m., Greg and Good Company here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
This is Gary Devon Dotson, and you're listening to Deeper Than Music Radio.
I'm staring as your lips move through the sound of the music and the lively crowd. I'm nodding to pretend to understand every other word I think is said. But please don't expect me to know the exact words that you chose. I think I'm falling in love. No, I don't remember your name. The alcohol is who you have to blame. I'm sorry, I swear I really am. But what did you expect at 2 a.m.?
Greg and Good Company, the band. And you know what that song kind of reminds me of? It sounds like Dave Matthews. It's got a Dave Matthews vibe to it.
Yeah, one of my favorite descriptions that a fellow Los Angeles band gave to us when we first met, and now we're really good friends, Ben Ford from The Absurd, he described their music as, "You're like Dave Matthews Band with balls." That always stuck with me. I thought that was a pretty good compliment, because I love Dave Matthews Band, and I do think Dave has balls. And I think I've always I just like a good melody, but I like the heaviness too. I grew up with I like that distortion, baby. So I implement it a lot.
Because I think,
but I also love.
Oh, great! I'm sorry. I was just gonna say you could like do a mashup with "Blame It on the Alcohol" with that song.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
that might get us.
Yeah. So how old were you when you knew that you wanted to be a musician and you wanted to do be in a band or songwrite and sing?
Well, I've always been singing and songwriting for fun. It's always been a part of my life since I was in 6th grade. It's a great. I recommend it to everyone. I mean, it's just I'd be doing it no matter what. But when I was, I'd say 28. So about 3 years ago, I was like, you know what? I really want to give this thing a go, to the point where I was like, I'm going to set aside writing to focus more outside of what I need to do for work to just give this all I got while I'm youngish, So, yeah, it's been about 3 years.
Okay. So you decided later on in life that you wanted to really pursue this, the formation of the band, and keep it moving. So what has been the biggest challenge that you've had in your career since forming the band?
The biggest challenge is really just exposure, just getting it out there, getting people to listen, because there's more content than ever, and not just music. I'm not just talking about SoundCloud and Spotify. I mean, Netflix, HBO Go. There's so much media that while it's easier than ever to create it and cheaper, it is harder than ever, I think, to be heard. But at the same time, on a more optimistic level, there's a lot of ways where, before in the 90s, if you didn't have a record label, like, good luck getting your stuff out there. You need to drive and sell it out of your car, which obviously a lot of people did. And now we can sit in our butt at home from our computer and get on a Spotify playlist, go viral on YouTube. So there's a lot of great things that you can do at your fingertips to, get listeners and find fans. And so it's just, the hardest thing is just getting it out there,
Yeah, because the thing is, like, there can be an oversaturation, and I think the biggest thing is, how do you market yourself? And like you said, without a big label, and how do you get people to market yourself and stand out and connect in the sea full of social media? So we have all great interviews always go by so fast. We have 10 minutes left. I want to play your song, Monster's Lair, and then get back into the rest of the interview. Can you give us the story behind the song Monster's Lair?
Yeah, Monster's Lair is, any fan of Stranger Things on Netflix should appreciate this song. And also, any mothers, anybody who loves their mother. I literally binge watched the entire first season of Stranger Things the day after it came out, 2 years ago now, I think, and was smoking a bowl, and my buddy went home, and I picked up my guitar and started strumming the chorus you're about to hear, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to kind of do a poetic retelling of Joyce Byers' kind of heroic journey, and that's the main character, that Will's mother in the show, played delightfully by Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder, yeah.
So, the show, the song really is straight up just kind of a meditation on that character's bravery that she went through, and I think that the show and also the song just represents, in the show it's a alien monster thing, but really think of how many monsters in this world that mothers have to protect their children from, whether it's an abusive boyfriend, who knows. And so, I know for me, a good song, when I write it, is as I get a little emotional, I get a tear, I choke up. And that happened to me while I was writing this song, because I was just thinking about, what my mom has done for me, and what every good mom out there is willing to do for her son, and what Joyce Byers was willing to do for her son when an alien monster took him into the upside down. So that's what the song is about.
Awesome. So, Stranger Things fans, this will definitely be a treat. Here we go, Monsters Lair, Greg and Good Company here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
Dark when it's late at night. A little boy gone when they found his body. Mother asked why, but no one knows. They tell her he's gone and the case is closed. When she hears the phone, a little boy's voice, but he's not alone. Mama, won't you get me, 'cause I'm really scared. I'm cold and I'm hiding in the monster's lair. People call her crazy, but she just don't care. They don't believe that a monster's there. She wants to scream and they all just stare. Show her the way to the monster's lair. Show her the way to the monster's lair. The lights start to flicker as I guide her to hole in the wall, she climbs right through. It's dark inside, but her mission's clear. Love is a light and it shines through fear. She starts to run like she's not sure where. High on alert with the monster there. She might not live, but she still don't care. Show her the way to the monster's lair. Show her the way to the monster's lair. Cubs on the ground and he needs some air. She picks him up while the monster stares. She screams back away, we're both not scared. She's taken her boy from the monster's lair.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg and Good Company. Man, have you guys shopped that to Stranger Things?
You know, I would love. I think I've done. I don't know. No, the answer is no. But I think I shot an email to the Duffer Brothers. I don't know. I forget. But yeah, I would love for them to hear that the Duffer Brothers created or Winona Ryder, just because. Not that I want them to share with their followers. I just like them to know that how much that show meant to me.
Oh man,
that their art led to more art, and that's one of my favorite songs that I've written and had produced. So
we're gonna have to do a part 2. We're 3 minutes in. So it's your time for shameless promotion. I'm pretty sure when people hear this interview, they're gonna, hey, where can I hear about Greg and Good Company, get their music, show dates, things of that nature. Shameless promotion time, Greg.
All right. Well, y'all should check out all of our music videos on the YouTube. If you just search Greg Good Company, and even if you just Google us, Greg in Good Company, should pop right up with lots of links, because there's no other Greg in Good Company. And you can find us on Spotify. SoundCloud. I'm pretty sure we're probably on Pandora too. I don't know. Pretty much Google Music, Apple Music, iTunes. I appreciate anyone who just spends their time listening to it, even for free. And especially appreciate people who support us by buying music and we have great, really comfortable T-shirts for sale for $20. Everyone who wears them says they're super comfortable. You can find them on our website, www.gregingoodcompany.com. You can hit me up on Facebook, send me your size, Venmo me. I will send you one. I just hope you guys listen to the rest of the album if you like what you heard in the show. We worked on it for almost 2 years, and kind of song by song, I completely self-financed it myself. It wasn't easy, but it was probably one of the most satisfying things I ever did, no matter what comes of it. And I'm just very grateful to you, Furious, for having me on a show, playing our music, and I hope your listeners enjoyed it.
Yep, and we'll add you to our rotation. So I'm going to close out the song. We got like a minute left. I want to have you back on the show with the In Good Company, the rest of the band. So we'll get that scheduled. But we'll definitely keep in touch. We're going to go ahead and end the song end the show 50 seconds out with Carrie's song, Told Me to Sing. Next time we have you on, we'll have you share the story behind the music. But we're going to close out with that. And Greg, thank you for coming out, adding the song to the rotation. And we'll definitely be checking up. We'll have a part 2 of you here on Deeper Than Music Radio. So this is Furious and Greg signing off on Deeper Than Music Radio.
Peace, y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Take care, dude.
But I know that you're wrong. You told me to sing when I wrote my first songs. You watched me on stage and I watched you sing along. So I owe you this thing.